Today's dreams reveal the planned prison we are handed in childhood when we are told we are too sensitive. In Amy's dream, we see the self-imprisonment accepted as if there is no other choice. In Kathy's dream, we see she's happy to do it because it pleases her owner, whoever that is. Welcome to the Dream Interpretation Podcast with Michael and Sandy.
Hello, welcome everybody. So excited you're here.
This is another half hour of us eavesdropping on the very personal communication between the spirit world and you, which is telling you what you need to be doing in your life right now. What is the most important thing in the universe, not just on the earth plane, because you are here for a spiritual reason. All those reasons are understood on the other side of the veil, and our dreams are the anchor point between what we planned while we were there and what we're meant to be doing when we're here. Listen to your dreams and you will know what you're meant to be doing in your life right now. Sandy, anything interesting?
Well, we've got our 3-day summit coming up in October, and it's coming faster than I expected. It's like, my goodness, it's just right around the corner. So you want to share a little bit about that so we get people all excited and wanting to join?
Yeah, we've got a lot of people already signed up. We mentioned it once. That's all we've done so far. dream-analysis.com/free summit, all one word. That'll get you to the registration page for it. This is all about dreams. The show is all about dreams, but this summit is all about dreams. 3 days where we take you from beginner to advanced level with understanding your dreams. It's absolutely packed full of content and games and all sorts of other things. We have the graduates of our programs that are there and willingly interpreting dreams for free for people who attend, and many other things too. It's definitely the most dream intensive, practical thing that you could ever do if you want to understand dreams. This is the thing to do. dream-analysis.com/free summit. We do ask for a refundable $97 deposit. We give that back after the event. It makes sure that everybody who attends is in a like mind. They're all aligned. They all are interested in dreams, and that's why they're there. So that makes it a much better event for you.
That sounds super. I'm so excited. It's right around the corner. It's coming up so fast. Anyways, please go out there and sign up, you guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. Alrighty, Michael, are you ready to dive into some fun dreams today?
Of course. I'm glad you called them fun.
Yeah, first one looks interesting. So this one's titled Bobby Preferred Better Attention, and it's from Amy. I dreamt that Bobby and I broke up because I bored him by not giving him the kind of attention he desired. He was on the phone with a woman who clapped at the end of him saying or doing something, and I understood that was the attention he wanted. Praise. In reality, I believe he really likes this. I was offended he was so brazen as to do this while I was there, so I told him off. I said we were breaking up over potato chips, and this is the third time this happened, where I lost somebody over something as small as eating potato chips. I was annoyed that he didn't care about me, and he was into these women who applauded him. He wasn't even going to acknowledge or apologize for his place in any wrongdoing. He also dialed Jackie's number from my phone, and I stopped the call after the first ring. I didn't like that he did that, like he was testing to see who was in my contacts, and I explained she was a woman who lived in New York City, and it was after 11 p.m. I figured she'd understand I mistakenly called, but it was him who did it, and I wouldn't need to explain myself. Alrighty, Michael, that's the end of that dream. Very interesting.
All right. We've been chopping them up and we've had long dreams for a while. So this is kind of short in the middle, I suppose. Here's one of the things we always say to people who are going through our programs: don't do anything major. Don't change your job. Don't end your relationship, etc., etc. Well, she did. She ended her relationship with Bobby. Nothing we can do about that. But I love the potato chip symbol. And that took a bit I had to channel that to get it. But chips aren't a meal. They're something you can't truly enjoy. And later on, you often regret indulging yourself. So in the dream, the potato chips are about temptation that you would later regret. It's a perfect setup for a relationship dream, I think. What other symbols have we got? The clapping woman shows that Bobby doesn't want intimacy. He wants to be told he's right. And that is not a relationship. Don't play that game. Amy's Achilles heel is wanting to be understood. So she's tempted to over-explain or even praise to get what she wants. This is linked to mom not understanding her, but the dream shows that past issue with mom is brought into present day relationships. And we know a lot of that from working with other dreams from her. Like I said, that's her Achilles heel. If people don't understand her, she has a problem. It's a loop she has to close. Really, what she needs to do is understand herself, hold her own boundaries, and stop playing that game. The boundary breach, of course, is dialing a contact from her phone without her consent. Clearly a privacy violation. That's a tell. I know it's in a dream, but that's a very red flag and not something to reason with. But the bottom line, ignore his need for approval, decline temptations, keep your boundaries without explanation, because explanation is her Achilles heel. I mean, it's not that you shouldn't explain things in relationships, but in her case, it's a big, big issue. And she has to choose partners who value presence over praise. Do you have questions?
Wow, that was very deep. Interesting. So let's see. We've got him talking on the phone with another woman.
So
So the talking on the phone.
that's about communication. Now, there's two things in it. First of all, it's a rude thing to be doing in a relationship because she's hurt by it. But phones are about communication. Talking to women on the phone is about expressing how you feel, something to do with your own feminine side. So there's two layers to that particular symbol in the dream. He's not sensitive to her needs and how she feels. That's clear in the dream.
Yeah, like him not acknowledging or apologizing for his place in any wrongdoing. He doesn't even think he did anything wrong.
Yeah, but here's what you do. You look at that and you go, okay, this is this relationship. What have your other relationships been like? And she'll go, oh yeah, well, they're all the same. And so you what you do is you look at the thing being brought up in the dream and then you track it back. It's very easy in this case because you can just go, wait, is mom like this? Because we know she's working on mom. And she goes, oh yeah, mom would never admit that she did anything wrong. Mom would, we'll see it in another dream later, accuse her of being too sensitive and all that sort of stuff. Like, I'm okay. You're the one that's taking this all the wrong way. And so we kind of see that in this dream. And so what we want to do is see the issue, see the feeling that's being brought up, because feelings are typically what dreams are going after, and then link it back to when's the first time that you suffered this particular feeling. And it's going back all the way to childhood. Now, for most of us, we don't have that memory. It's not a conscious memory.
Mm-hmm. And then we've got after 11 p.m.
So we see here where she has this kind of dilemma. He did it, and she's thinking, oh, I'm going to have to explain this. And then she's like, no, wait, but he's the one that did it. I won't need to explain myself. But this is a big thing for some people, that their partner treats them badly and they go around following them and trying to correct the record in everybody else's mind. And it doesn't work. If you're doing that in your relationship, then you've already lost. You need to get into a space of not explaining yourself or not having to explain yourself. If you have a partner who's particularly bad and you feel that you need to tell everybody, hey, what he just said is not true, this is how it actually went down, then you're not giving your friends the credit for being able to tell that themselves.
Cool. That is great. Well, how far along would you say she's in cutting the ties? Seems like we're still bringing up stuff.
Yeah, she's not near the end yet. I don't think so. Probably close to the middle.
Okay. Alrighty, let's move on. We have another dream, and this is from Kathy, and it's titled Kiss from My Father. I am in a forest, and I'm sitting, or rather lying, on a bench of a picnic table. My father was just with me, but now he is standing a little way off to the left in the forest. He makes some sort of sound. I pretend to be asleep. Then he comes closer and he gives me a kiss on my right cheek. It also feels like it was on my neck. And I'm very afraid. I'm very afraid. This is not okay. I wake up with a pounding heart.
Obviously, a kiss from a father in reality isn't a bad thing. So the fact that she has such a reaction to it is very telling. So you would immediately say, okay, tell me about dad. What's going on with dad? What would make you prefer to have no interaction with dad? So very telling. So dad would overstep boundaries. It's not about events. It's not about him kissing her incorrectly or any type of abuse in that area. Dreams don't tend to do that. They don't tend to hit the nail on the head. It's always symbolic. So the scene really records fear of interaction with dad and his boundary crossing energy from childhood. She said he was narcissistic. He was all about himself. He'd get angry if she didn't react the way he wanted, but she wouldn't know what way he would want her to react. So that's really what that's about. Pretending to sleep, that's a self-protection. Play dead, don't interact. It shows what she does is withdraws to stay safe when boundaries feel at risk. And this shows up a lot of ways in life, like stay quiet, don't share how you feel, etc., etc. None of those are good things. What is good, though, is the dream shows a switch from mom to dad. And that's a good sign. Like you asked earlier with Amy, where was she in the process? And she's not that far in, or maybe halfway in. With Kathy, it's different. When dreams start off, they show, okay, here's your issue with feminine energy, and here's an issue with masculine energy. So mom and dad, let's say. And as you work through the issues, the priority shifts at some point and dad starts showing up in dreams again. So it's always positive to see that sign, even though it can be somewhat confusing. But so that moving the focus to dad signals progress in the work on mom. Unfortunately, it says there's also stuff to do with dad, but we can see the overlap because she withdraws because of the way dad was. The bottom line, basically, sensitivity isn't a flaw. It helps us know boundaries. The dream validates that she has an alarm system that shows healing has happened because of the focus shifting from mom to dad.
Very interesting. Okay, so what about being in the forest? And she's laying on a bench.
Yeah, I didn't mention that, but the bench, obviously made of wood, and the forest both tell us that she has elimination system issues, which she does. And we know that they're going to improve as she works through this process because they're in the dream.
So it's very interesting that she was afraid because he came close and kissed her on a cheek. Is that a symbol of something going on?
No, it's more a symbol of that's how she was around dad. I'm afraid of dad.
All right, that makes sense. All righty, then let's move on. I'm done with that one. The next one is from Amy again, and this is called Running from Authorities with Uncle Pat. Very interesting title. So I was with my Uncle Pat, male version of my mom, both mean people. Ooh, that's sad. And we were running from authority. I guess he'd killed someone. We got to a place where I could see his life plan on my phone, and he planned for himself to eventually be locked away in a wall under a local highway. The wall was support for this elevated highway. Very interesting. Okay, let's continue. I gasped in agony for him. Life would always be bustling around him, and he would always be locked away inside. He said I was being too sensitive, as if that was always my problem. I explained myself and how I had reasons to feel bad about it. I was surprised he didn't feel bad about this. He planned a life of absolute loneliness and restriction in the end. Then I heard a knock on the door. The authorities found us. I checked the windows to make sure it was locked. Felt like my bedroom window from childhood. I was quiet so they didn't hear me. Is this where I would escape and he finally would be caught and locked away? I woke up. Very interesting dream.
All right. So here again, we see Uncle Pat is like a blended parent energy. He's the male version of mom and carries a bit of dad too. The life plan to be walled in, that's a self-imposed isolation. That's a feminine energy issue. That's what she's working on, feminine energy, by cutting the ties with mom. And then like it's his choice to end up locked inside the support wall of an elevated highway. That points to being walled off in the heart while life bustles or continues on outside. And when I channeled on this, I got that it's not directly about Amy, but rather it reflects others. So then when I talked to her about that, she said, yeah, that's mom. Mom chose a hard life, a lonely path. And then sensitivity is brought up, and that really needs to be reframed. The line, you're too sensitive, is the old criticism. Amy does feel for people planning needless hardship. And this sensitivity is very useful in her career because she works with other people, helping them heal stuff. The dream validates that her sensitivity rightly sees simple changes that would make things easier while they tough it out as if they have no choice. Of course they have a choice. Authorities at the door is consequences catching up to others. While the childhood bedroom window anchors this whole pattern in early life. Again, this is what she experienced with mom. Mom would tough it out. So, like, while on the subject of Amy's mom planning a hard life for herself, it's worth noting that people willingly make life hard because of the influences around them. Look at me, I'm tough. When the reality is they have no idea who they are. They're only tough to fit in because everybody else acts tough. And they think others, like Amy, should be like them. But the bottom line is the dream isn't telling her that she makes life hard. It's mirroring her gift for perceiving when others do that unnecessarily to themselves, and then naming the family origins of that pattern.
Very interesting. So this is something because of her life and what she went through that she developed this gift that she can now see. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. And it's almost always true that whatever our trauma is, so in this case, the trauma was she is being accused all the time of being too sensitive. It starts with mom and then everybody else piles on top of that once we have that belief system locked in. But it's the converse of it is that she can see when people are doing what mom did. She can see when people think they have no choice and think life is tough. And she's like, no, you can make this small change and it's going to soften your life a lot. And she's able to use that today. So she has a gift that's really born out of necessity in order to survive a mother who forced her to look at life the other way. Like, there are no choices. There are no choices. This is what you have to do, etc., etc.
And then what about the authorities finding them?
It's a defeatist attitude that her uncle and therefore her mom has in reality. Like, it's going to catch up with me. There's nothing I can do about this. Like, so I'm not even going to try. Like, this will be the classic, I am never going to ever work on myself kind of symbol. Like, there is no point. Life has dealt me what it's dealing, and there is nothing I can do about it. And anybody who says otherwise is crazy.
Wow, very interesting. Okay, let's move on to another dream. This one is Baby Crocodile, and this is from Kathy. Interesting. I see a cream-colored, soft crocodile from the back. It's sliding across the floor on its belly towards a square, black coffee table. Under the table lies a soft, hairy blanket, also cream-colored. The crocodile slides its head under the blanket and stays lying there. I can see its tail wagging. There's something about its owner really liking that. All right. Very interesting. What's up with the crocodile? Let's hear it.
Well, Kathy's cutting the ties with mom, and the cream color is a healing color for mom's critical nature. So the scene is a very healing scene. A baby crocodile or a pet crocodile, not dangerous, shows the dreamer's natural bite is softened and domesticated. Like, I'm safe to be around. The core pattern really is, I hide my teeth since childhood. Again, this is a protection strategy that the dreamer has employed. The crocodile tucking its head under the soft cream blanket and wagging its tail mirrors pleasing others by staying small and hiding. Bottom line, the dream validates progress because we see the healing, we see the cream color in it. The power is present, but it is still hidden. So she still has a little bit to go. The childhood pleaser pattern is there, but the cream color is the built-in antidote in the dream. And basically, it's safe now to start letting more of your teeth show. So good luck to everybody around her.
So what does the teeth mean? Is that just her emotions, her personality, or what is it?
It's more like taking a bite at life. Yeah, we all are born with the ability to do this. And we have the expression like somebody's bitten off more than they can chew. And so this dreamer will feel that going through life. So she won't take a bite. She will stay back, stay in the shadows, and let other people dominate her. And so that's going to change. We know it's going to change. She's doing it out of protection because the owner, so that the adult, like it's a baby crocodile in the dream. The adult in the dream is the one that's happy with the baby doing this, like holding back, don't show me your teeth, all that sort of stuff. So that's been healed for her. We see the healing because of the color. And like I said, she's going to change. One of the beautiful things, of course, is when you're working on issues, we take a list of like, these are my, let's say, baseline issues. I don't share how I feel. I don't speak up even when I know the answer in particular situations. I feel like, who am I to tell somebody else something that they need to do? All that sort of stuff. We don't actually work on healing those. We work on healing the trauma, looking at the impacts on us as a child from the person who caused us to react and put up a defensive barrier that becomes the traits that we look at that are negative. I hope that makes sense. I took a while to say it. So by not speaking up, that's a trait that we have, a defensive trait. Like, I hide under the blanket. Nobody gets to see my teeth. Everybody should feel safe around me. That's my defensive mechanism that I employed in childhood. We know it's childhood because of the baby. And I do it to protect myself. When we work on the trauma, all that changes. So the person doesn't have to actually try to do anything different. They just find themselves doing something different. Like, wow, I went out and I did this, or I shared this in a situation where I would normally never even speak up. People wouldn't even know I'm in the room. And they come back and they share all those types of things with us, which is absolutely great. They're thrilled with that, but we don't have to go after it. It's like, if you're afraid of heights, you don't have to hang from a ledge of a skyscraper. You do all these other things, and then suddenly you're not afraid of heights, and you've never had to do that crazy thing that makes you feel the pain. The defensive traits we employ to avoid pain. When we realize that there no longer is going to be any pain, then we don't need that defensive trait anymore, and we're able to be ourselves.
Wow, that's lovely. This is so cool. So cool. Well, it sounds like she's well on her way.
Absolutely.
All right. We got time for one more dream?
I think so.
All righty. This is also from Kathy, and it's titled Red Toy Horse. I'm at a school. The lesson is over, and I still have something that belongs to the teacher, which I need to return. Then I also find a plastic red toy horse, sizes for little children to ride on. Even though it is not my responsibility, I also have to bring that back. Eventually, I'm in class with Michael. Is that you, Michael?
It is.
Woohoo! But he is a woman. There you go. Just before the lessons end, I asked Michael, may I stay a little longer? And Michael, as a woman, is very excited because he has to tell me something. He is very happy, but still, I'm afraid it's bad news. I try to think of all the things it could be, yet he does look really happy.
All right. So where is she in the process? The school class nearly over signals she's late stage in the cycle. So she's almost finished with the healing, close to completion of this layer of work. Seeing me as a woman is about permission to display who she truly is. On the show, we often segment masculine and feminine, but ultimately it's just about who we are. And the dream shows readiness to show the feminine aspect openly. The red toy horse I liked because I had to channel on that, because it's typically a healing symbol. A horse is about healing. A toy or a childhood toy is going to be about childhood, so it'll be healing for childhood, or a healing gift that you had in childhood. But anytime I ever channeled for her about does she have a healing gift, they said no. And so when I saw it in this dream, I'm like, okay, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. And what they said was it's on loan to her. It's not actually her modality. One of her guides sneaked this gift to her so that she could use it in order to bring bursts of joy into her life, because her life was miserable as a child. So the gift is an instant uplift or boost of joy, but not a tool she's meant to keep or use on others. But we see it repeatedly showing up in her own dreams. But ultimately, she's going to have to give that back. We see an emotional pattern. We see the tension in the dream. And it's not really about the news that I say in the dream that she's going to get. It's the waiting or anticipation. So I asked her about that, and she said, yeah, I really hate waiting. The not knowing feels like it could still turn bad, even when she knows it's going to be good news. So that's one of that's definitely got to go on her list. It'll be good because by the end of the process, that'll be gone, and it's going to help her enormously in her life.
I like the fact that you show up in the dream. So what does that mean with you being in the dream?
Well, I show up in a lot of people's dreams when I'm working with them. And there's usually something strange that happens in the dream. So me showing up as a woman, it's like show up. So it's all about her showing up as she is. And like I said, we often segment it and say these traits are feminine, these traits are masculine, and we're working on particular traits. Now she's cutting the ties that bind with mom. So it's all about bringing the feminine forward. And it's not so much ever really about like what are the traits. It's all about me. Who am I? If I'm going to really show up as myself. And so this is me in the dream telling her symbolically to show up as she is, show up as the woman she is. And it's just a kind of a quirky, positive way that the dream does it.
Wow, that's really cool. Do we have any time to bring Nicole on?
Hi, Sandy. Hi, Michael. Today from the radio show Mailbag, let's take a look at how healing agents might appear in our dreams. So a healing agent will appear in a dream as a positive male or female character who gets in close contact with you and who is very helpful or supportive or in some way beneficial. Healing agents have the qualities you need. For example, a shy person who dreams of a positive, outgoing, extroverted character. So here's a dreamer who's going through cutting the ties with her father. And I thought this was just such a beautiful example of a healing agent, so I wanted to share. As usual, I'm cutting out some pretty big chunks of the dream. But the dreamer writes that she saw a character's husband, Sean, inside sitting with the kids in the front room. There was something about it that looked silly with toys all around him, or I don't know exactly what, but I made a joke and laughed and said, "Dad life," and laughed and walked away. She described Sean as a very hands-on dad, which was very much in contrast to her own father, who was in and out of her life and eventually pretty much out of her life when she was about 6. So, as I said, she's going through cutting the ties that bind. So, really working on the relationship with her father, really healing that and the masculine more generally. So, in essence, Sean is giving her a glimpse at the kind of father-daughter relationship that she didn't have when she was growing up with her own father. And in doing so, in the dream world, he's actually healing the parts of her that didn't receive that kind of love that she really needed and deserved. And so with that, I'll send it back to you, Sandy.
All righty, everybody. I guess that's going to be it for this week. I sure hope you enjoyed the show. Is there anything else that you would like to share, Michael?
Yeah. Remember, dream-analysis.com/free summit, all one word, and do show up for our October summit. We'd love to see you there. It's interactive. You get to talk to us.